Okay, so the other day, all hell broke loose after the Trump administration accidentally or intentionally removed MLB Hall of Famer Jackie Robinson's webpage off the DoD website in an attempt to purge anything to do with DEI. And on Thursday, Mina Kimes and Stephen A. Smith went on air and called out the administration even after they reinstated the website and apologized, stating it was done in error. Who knows what really happened, but that said, Mina Kimes came under heavy scrutiny from some fans as they were calling out for bringing politics into sports and even demanded ESPN to fire her. But in the midst of all that, RG3 made a tweet that kind of ruffled some feathers, and here's what he tweeted. Sports shows on TV should be about sports, not politics. In my own mind, did this gain a lot of traction and pissed off some people? Anyway, Stephen A. Smith went on his show Friday and responded to RG3 and went ham on the former Redskins QB, calling him out and telling him to stop tap dancing and that everyone at ESPN hated him. Anyways, it's pretty wild. Have a listen.
So that's all I wanted to say about that. Now I want to move on to some degree from this subject to get a bit personal, because I want to get to others who weighed in on the subject, namely Robert Griffin III, aka RG3, my former colleague at ESPN, by the way. Shortly after my comments on First Take a couple of days ago, RG3 posted this on X. Quote, "Sports shows on TV should be about sports, not about politics," end quote. Then more than 6 hours later, he expanded his thoughts with this statement, quote, "This tweet is not about Jackie Robinson. His significance can never and should never be erased. Breaking the color barrier in baseball in itself is not political. Jesse Owens winning 4 gold medals in itself was not political. Jack Johnson becoming the first black boxing heavyweight champion in itself was not political. They all have political ramifications. They all challenge the status quo of racial barriers to fair play, race relations, and civil rights. That should always be acknowledged and never forgotten. They shouldn't be used as an excuse to push political agendas on sports shows on national television to an audience there to consume in sports content," end quote. RG3, respectfully, my brother, you sound ignorant. You sound utterly clueless. First of all, when Jackie Robinson integrated baseball in 1947, are you trying to say that race wasn't politicized in 1947 or beforehand? RG3, at some point in time, my brother, you're going to have to show your hand and stop tap dancing like the late, great Gregory Hines, God rest his soul. And in Gregory Hines' case, I only mean literally tap dancing. Figuratively speaking, you got to stop dancing around issues, brother. You got something to say, say it. If you got a problem with Stephen A., say it by name. What's the problem? Because I certainly don't have any problem with you. Let me tell you, RG3, an unknown secret that you may not have realized. Because you see, you come across as somebody that's bitter about being gone from ESPN. You ain't being slick. See, we saw the reports when you got let go by ESPN and how ticked off you were. We saw people in your camp, probably you in my estimation, but I don't know this for sure, who alluded to the Jason McCourtys of the world being on ESPN in the aftermath of you being let go. So since you have this penchant, this proclivity to be passive aggressive because that's how you roll, let me show you how to be direct. RG3, people at ESPN didn't like you, bro. They didn't like you. You know the names. I said names as in plural. And do you know why I can say that to you, RG3? Because I'm not one of those people. I actually loved you on First Take. Every time you came on First Take, you did a damn good job. Are you ready for this, RG3? Don't faint. The bosses would tell you, I wanted them to keep you. But just because I'm the executive producer of First Take doesn't mean that I get to keep you on the show. It doesn't mean that I get to determine your salary. It doesn't mean that I get to determine whether or not they're willing to pay your salary. And it damn sure doesn't mean that I have anything to do with Monday Night NFL Countdown, which you were a part of. Now, I'm not going to get into who was happy about it and who wasn't. I'm not going to get into whether or not they were happy about it at all. That's inside, in-house business. That's none of anybody's business. What I'm saying to you is stop with the passive-aggressive stuff. That's weak, bro. That's weak. That's exactly the reason why a whole bunch of cats at ESPN had a problem with you, because of that passive-aggressive stuff. You know good and well that First Take has never been afraid to tackle issues ever. RG3, do you know I have footage of you tackling issues? You know good and damn well we tackle anything. It's football, it's basketball, it's politics, it's social issues, it's social commentary. Colin Kaepernick, George Floyd. List goes on and on. Philando Castillo. We've tackled issues on a plethora of occasions. Why are you acting like you don't know? Because your feelings hurt that you gone?
Damn, Stephen A really went in hard on RG3. I do recall the former QB being really salty when he got fired from ESPN last year when they were downsizing, but I didn't know it was to this extent. And I will say this, I do recall RG3 also bringing politics into sports in the past, so it is what it is. Anyways, his firing came as a surprise because the guy was everywhere on the network from Monday Night Football to College Game Day and First Take, so I naturally thought he was a rising star on the network. But that being said, I do think Stephen A. Smith was right in calling out RG3 because it certainly did feel like his tweet was directed at ESPN and Stephen A. And like you said, maybe he felt that Stephen A. Smith was the one who pushed him out of the network, considering he's the executive producer on First Take and has a lot of clout at ESPN. However, what I found funny is that the criticism he said of RG3 is a lot of the same discourse people direct at Stephen A. Smith about tap dancing and selling out his own community. Kind of feels like he's deflecting that energy to his former colleague. Anyways, what do you all think about what Stephen A. Smith had to say on this matter?